Welcome, everybody. Okay, to another great episode of Real Life Matters, and I'm your host, DBoss, of course. And before you guys watch, go subscribe to the channel DBoss Networks on YouTube. And if you want to go to Instagram, it's DBoss_1 or DBoss Real Life Matters. You could see it there also, and you can go to my Facebook page, which is Sweet the Boss. Not sweet like sugar, sweet SUITE, the boss. And you can go add me as a friend or follow me there, and you can see all the episodes that I've done. But today, I've got a very special guest, and it's a doctor. So we're going to be doing a lot of asking. That's a little cute today. Ask, and more ask. But anyways, with no other further ado, I am going to introduce to you Dr. Ron.
Well, hello there. That was such a wonderful introduction. I feel like I gotta perform now.
You gotta perform. Well, you better perform. You gotta do some backflips there.
Okay. All right. I don't know how successful that will be. I'm past my backflip days. Okay.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Can you tell everybody where you come from?
I am calling you from Chicago. That's that little place in the Midwest, right on Lake Michigan.
Okay.
The one that's been in the news internationally with all the disasters and gun violence and all those kind of things. Yeah, that place.
Well, I guess if you're telling the truth, that's the real truth. Okay, so Dr. Ron. So tell us a little bit about Dr. Ron.
Well, it's not much to tell. It's the Cliff Notes version is that I have a PhD in philosophy, and I host a talk show called Ask Dr. Ron. And on my show, I do a variety of interviews with experts in many various fields, and makes it easy when you don't have to know everything. You just get an expert that knows everything, and then that allows you to be able to bring that information to the public. And I like to bring them knowledgeable facts about different various community, maybe politicians, maybe entertainers. So when I bring my show, I try to, celebrate heroes that normally people would not hear about. Like mainstream media, they don't cover some of the folks that I talk to, but yet they are noteworthy and they should be talking about them. So I try to give them a platform to be able to get their voice heard. So did I answer your question? Because, I get to rambling sometimes.
It's okay. Ask Dr. Ron. And I really like that. That's very catchy. And you're also a life coach. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, sometimes people will come to me and they want to try and get through hard spots in their life. So what I'll do is I'll try and figure out what the, pitfalls or what's holding them back. So I try and encourage people to make changes that will benefit them, to get past what their obstacles may be to get, to moving forward, because sometimes you get stagnant, nobody wants to drink from a stagnant pool of water because there's so many things that build up in that water that can harm you. So the best thing to do is drink from a place where you got flowing water, so when the water's flowing and you can drink and it'd be much more healthier, you're productive, your life is productive. So we're trying to keep you from being stagnant.
Okay, so that's what your life coach, that's what your course is, or when you go to, to get better, is what you do, because you are a success coach, a motivator, and a mentor.
Yes. All those things kind of tie together,
Okay.
So when people, sometimes they just need an encouraging word, so I try to motivate them, but sometimes you have to push people a little harder.
Okay.
So it just depends. Every situation is different. I've been in the entertainment industry for over 45 years. So I run
Mm-hmm.
across a lot of people that have various scenarios and various situations and circumstances. And I try to rely on my experiences to be able to help them get to the next best place.
You've been in this industry for a long time. So who are the people that you've worked with? I know you said you've worked with different doctors and experts in their different fields of the expertise, but who have you worked with?
Well, in the entertainment industry, I have done Broadway shows, off Broadway shows, a lot of international acts. I've worked with R&B artists over time. I used to
Like
live in New
who?
Orleans. You want names? You want me to name
Yeah,
names?
we want to name
Okay,
you was brushing over. People want to hear who you work with.
okay. Well, I've worked with old school people like that you might not have heard of because you look very young. The
Oh,
Dells, the Shylights. I've worked with Walter Jackson. I've worked with people out of New Orleans like the Neville Brothers.
okay.
People. God, so many. Like Brazilian dance companies. I've worked with African dance companies. I've worked with Chinese ballet companies. One of the companies I used to work with, I know you're in close to New York. You
Yeah.
might have heard of Columbia Artist Management.
Yes.
We used to tour to Toronto every time we had a show.
Okay.
I've worked with a Broadway show called Three Mo Tenors. That was a show that I worked with. We toured that to Toronto. We actually did quite well there. So it's just a variety of R&B, Broadway, off Broadway. I can't.
So
I
what? So
actually
some
I
of
actually
the Broadway films. What like who have you worked with?
the Three Mo Tenors I just named them was one of
All
the
of
last ones I remember. I also work with Oprah sponsored the Color Purple. I worked with them for a while.
wow.
Okay. Well, she wasn't there, but but she sponsored the show. She sponsored the show. I did at one time they had a tour called Doodle Bops. That was kind of interesting. That was a Disney show.
Okay.
That was a Disney tour. So, that was decades ago, too many to remember.
Yeah. While you're telling out what you do, and Dr. Ron, obviously you worked and you've done so many things. Like a lot of people would like to have that kind of portfolio as you have.
Yeah, it was fun. Some of it, you know.
So what was it fun?
Well, I look at it like this, when I got into the entertainment industry,
Okay.
I realized that when you're in front of the camera, you can only make money when you're popular. So
Okay.
I decided at a young age that I like it. It was fun to work in this industry. So I wanted to learn the various things that can help keeping me make money, and still be around. So I started learning how to do sound. I started learning how to do lights, production, tour manager. I worked transportation, merchandise. So in various aspects of the industry to be able to be employable.
Okay.
And in the process of doing these things, it allowed me to be around what I enjoy doing. So if I was doing the transportation thing, sometimes I would do tour buses or star coaches. I've done 18 wheelers. I've done just to be able to bring the equipment in. If that's what the position that was open at the time to be able to be on that tour, so you couldn't be, well, I'm only a production manager and that's it, that's all. You're gonna be sitting home a lot of times, because
Oh, so
you
that's
got to
why
be
you went and opened the
flexible.
door and you said, okay, you know what? I'm gonna learn all the different aspects, so at least I'll always be employable. Correct?
Exactly. That's exactly right. So, and then you meet people along the way, you know. So, I've traveled from coast to coast, as you're familiar with Columbia Artist Management. They have international acts that come in from all over the world, and they feature them in performing arts venues across the country. And then that was what we used to do. We used to go, we would be the first ones in, the last ones out. Especially if you do a merchandise or something like that. And sometimes you get exposure to the public, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you just want to go somewhere and go to sleep, because it's not always
Well, where would
glamorous.
you go to sleep at though?
Well, sometimes, if we were doing a tour that required us to go sleep in the bus, then we sleep on the bus while we're traveling to the next town.
Okay.
Or sometimes we would have a hotel because we would be there, 2 or 3 days or long tours or whatever. So it varies,
Okay.
but the industry has kind of changed now, especially with the COVID thing. It has
Mm-hmm.
redefined how people are doing things. Last year, people were doing, and I'm pretty much retired now, so I don't worry about it. But some artists were doing concerts on pay-per-view on live streaming networks. So a lot of artists, were trying to remain relevant and keep in front of the public eye, so that they can, when they do decide to go back out there, that people will still remember what they do and how they do it and how they gave back when it was not available to be in a venue. It's a new day and a new time now. I enjoy traveling from city to city, country to country, place to place. I enjoyed it. You know, it was an adventure, I would say. You know,
So have you okay? So okay, you went to country. What did you go out of the U.S. or the
yes,
country?
I've done the Caribbean. I've also done Africa. I've done
Mm-hmm.
Europe. So I've been places like that. I used to go. Some of the tours that I would go on would take me to international places. I would enjoy going there because I get to see some things and try some different foods that I have never tried
And what
before.
did you like?
Oh, well, see, I love seafood, so my first adventure is always to try and figure out what they do with seafood, so I can see if I can steal the idea. You know,
Why you gonna cook it or something?
yeah, I'll steal a menu in a heartbeat. Oh, this is good. I'm gonna do this.
When you get home.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna enjoy myself. Life is too short not to enjoy it.
It's true.
Yeah.
So what kind of food did you said you went to Africa. What part of Africa did you go to and what type of food you like?
Seafood once again.
Again.
I was in Ghana, West Africa. I love Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
We went there for a tour, and I wind up staying at least an additional 2 or 3 weeks, and then at the time I was there, I got connected with a lot of people that I enjoyed so much that I've always said that I will probably wind up back in Africa someday. I would love to wind up back there and not leave, because it's so enjoyable there.
Okay. So you really well I had a just interview with somebody else and they said they went to all different parts of Africa, all different countries that were in Africa, and they said they enjoyed it too. They said they just liked everything.
Yeah.
Some people have come back and said other things, but you seem like you enjoyed yourself there.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
You could see from your face you did. So, and you said you've been in the Caribbean. So, what part of the Caribbean have you been in?
Oh, I used to visit the Bahamas quite regularly.
Okay.
That's one of my family homes, I would say. I have
Hmm.
relatives there. Been in and out of there all my life. So when I go there, it's like being home. I go there to recharge, rejuvenate, relax, just do nothing. When I used to go there, coming from the States, our cell phones did not work.
Yes.
So, you
Yeah, I've
know,
been to Bahamas.
Yeah. So if you did not buy a local cell phone or phone card, it was not easy to talk to folks back home
Hmm.
or anywhere. So,
Unless you had a one of those calling cards.
right, like I said, you have to get a local calling card or a cell phone, something like that. And they were like that for a very long time. I don't know if it's still that way. But when I would go over there, I actually got deprogrammed to having a cell phone in my hand, you know, because it's a programming, I'm so used to having a phone in my hand and responding to things, that I was like, wow, you know, um, when I came back to America, I had to like get used to it all over again,
You mean used to
responding.
having a cell phone?
I'm sorry.
Get used to having a cell phone?
Exactly, because I had
I know,
got to
because
a
when you go
point.
down there, you're just it's just like that in Cuba too.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm like, hey, I'm not trying to keep up what's going on. My internet access was very spotty. I took my
Wow.
laptop with me, so when I took my laptop, I was, check my email just so I make sure that I was paying bills. And I would stay 2, 3 months, and when I came back to the United States, I was thoroughly unprogrammed, and then I had once it didn't take long, like a couple of weeks, I was back in the swing of things.
When no one's really calling you and bothering you down there when you don't got no you got no access, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
well, island life was a beautiful thing. Every day I
Mm,
would go down on the main street where the vendors were selling food and go hang
okay.
out and see what the special was for the day. Riding around in a golf cart, not worrying about a car. I can go hang out and watch the pretty girls go by. That was life. That was a beautiful life. And then I'd be like, oh yeah, this is how to live. And then I got on the airplane and came back.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
So so during your career and your legacy, like what have you done that you would like to do?
What haven't I done that I would like to do? That's kind of a difficult question for me because I've always lived my life under the premise that when it's all over, said and done, and people are celebrating me, in whatever way they choose to celebrate me, I know many people are going to stand up and say these words. You know, he was not a person that coulda, woulda, shoulda. He was a person that did anything and everything he was big and bad enough to do.
Okay.
Okay. So, I've kind of lived my life that way so that I would have no regrets. If I see something that's within, my means that I would like to do, I'm gonna do it.
Hmm.
And whether I regret it or not, sometimes you just have to experience it and then know if you realize when you do self-evaluation, did I like that? Did I not like that? Will I do that again? It's kind of like a kid that when he first discovers the plug where you plug the light in, and your parents tell you do not play with that. And then when they ain't looking, you over there sticking your fingers with a paper clip in the outlet and you get zapped. It's a good thing it don't kill you, but then you realize, oh no, I can't do this no more because that didn't feel good. So to me, life has been like that. Sometimes I do things that zap me, and I'm like, wow, I shouldn't have did that. That didn't turn out right at all. Yeah, I can remember going to a casino thinking in my mind that I'm gonna come out of here, with all the casino's money.
Uh-uh.
So I'm sitting there pulling this one arm bandit all night long, and then the next day, and then all of a sudden I realized I ain't got nothing else to put in this thing. And I'm like, that did not work at all. you know, so that
Those
did not
casinos
feel
don't
good
work
at
at all
all.
either because they take all your money.
All right. So I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I ain't doing this no more. So it wasn't fun at all. Okay. Not at all.
Make
So
you
those are
any
life
kind of money.
experiences, yeah, that you learn along the way. I ain't doing that no more. So needless to say, Vegas is not one of my favorite places. So
Well, my
um,
dad likes it down there.
yeah, well, more power to them.
Hmm.
I got people, friends that retire there, and I'm like, hey, go right ahead. Just not me. I'm not doing it. No, I don't want to be around because, it's an energy and an excitement while you're doing it. But then there's a grief and a sorrow and a depression that you go through when things don't work out your way,
Hmm.
and people rush to that kind of roller coaster emotion and feeling. Not going to do it. you know, I'm not the person that wants to be that wide of it because I hate to lose money like that. I just hate it. You know, I might as well sit at home and just, burn $100 bills with a lighter.
It's true because it's almost the same thing.
Yeah, I ain't gonna never see that $100 again.
No.
And if I plant it in the ground, it ain't gonna grow nothing. So I don't get no return on my investment messing around with casinos. Okay.
Mm. So you
But
do
those,
ask Dr. Ron about casinos.
well, the thing
Don't
of it
do it.
is, those are some of the things that they'll be saying about me when I ain't around no more.
Mm-mm.
He ain't here no more, but he did everything he wanted to do. And if you ask him, he'll tell you what he liked and what he didn't like. So as far as a legacy, I would say that what I do with my show is something that I feel that people can draw something from and will
Mhm.
live on and on and on continuously. And I show up each and every time that there is a show and give it the best that I have to give, with the expectation that, my generations to come will look and someday they'll say 100 years down the road, like, well, who is this Dr. Ron guy? You know, and then somebody that's still alive will say, go to the video and you'll get
Mm.
to know who Dr. Ron was, and he was your XYZ relative. And then that way they'll be able to look back and say, oh damn, he was kind of cool, or that guy crazy, whatever. But then
Mm.
they'll be able to make a determination based off of what was left behind the trail that exists through technology.
Mm. Well, who would you like to interview that you haven't?
People ask me that question quite often.
They do?
Yeah.
This is the first time for me because I know you do what I do.
Yeah. You know, um, I don't have any particular person that I
Dr. Oz?
uh
Nah.
yeah, I mean, he's cool. I used to use a lot of his material when I first started out.
Oh,
I
okay.
Yeah, I used to do a segment on my show about 10 years ago that was called Health Tip of the Week.
Okay.
And in the health tip of the week, I would say Dr. Oz is using Oprah money to do a lot of research.
Mm.
So some of the things that he's putting out there is of value. And sometimes people don't recognize how of value it is. So I would, like, hey, on Dr. Oz show, they say it. I give him full credit,
Mm-hmm.
for it, but I would use it as a way of trying to encourage my listeners and my followers to want to do better health wise, because that's something that we need to do. So, I don't have to interview him to use his information. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, you just
you know,
feature it. You could feature him. That's
there
a,
you go. But there are I guess the one person that I think would be a very profound interview for me would be President Obama.
oh,
I think that would be an excellent interview. I think he would say some things that would bless people in such a way that we would have a better understanding of him and his presidency, because it's a lot of people choose to dump on him,
okay.
because they felt like he should have did more for black people than what he actually did.
I
But
thought he did a lot, though.
yeah, he did. He did what he could do. See, some people don't realize that being in that office, you are just a figurehead.
Mm,
And, you're not just the black person's president, you're president to the entire United States. So
right.
everything you do cannot be targeted towards just one demographic in the United States. And then most of the time that he was in office, he was hindered, because he had a Republican Congress that fought him on everything that he tried to do. And some people don't realize when he took office that he took over a government that was defunct.
Mm-hmm.
So traditionally you get a black people the job after you done messed up everything, and that's exactly what they did. They gave him the job after they had messed everything up that they can mess up, and he did a pretty good job of bringing things back around and handing it off to another fool, that kind of messed things up again. So now the
Mm.
Democrats are trying to fix again what the Republicans have messed up. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Because I get off
He's
base
actually
sometimes. I
not
get
after.
sidetracked,
No, it's okay. It's okay because we're getting to know you and who you are. So can you tell us about it's Thursday night with six guys and you?
Yes. Boy, you did
Tell us
your
about
homework,
that.
didn't you? You did your
Huh?
homework, didn't you? You did your homework, didn't you?
That's what I'm here to do. I
I
better do
know
my
that's
homework.
right.
All right, got Dr. Ron to put me in place.
Yeah. So I'm on a show that we do each and every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Mhm.
We go live, and it is six um, radio personalities, television personalities that we all come together with our individual characters, and we talk about current events, various types of subjects, and
Okay.
we all inject our own different character and personality into that.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Lee Michaels, which is a legend in the industry, we are on his network called Street News Now,
Okay.
and he hosts the show. And then we have three people from Chicago: my brother in broadcasting, Mr. Chris Bass; my brother in broadcasting, the Professor Reggie Miles; and myself. We're all from Chicago. And then we also have another legend in the radio and television industry, Mr. Mike Love, who's down in Dallas, Texas. And then we also got Buck Wow. Now
Mm.
Buck Wow is just that, Buck Wow. Now he's down in Atlanta, and he brings a variety of tomfoolery that that you can't get anyplace else, only from him. So it's a combination of maturity and experience in the industry and in the world that we love, talking about topics and trying to impart wisdom. you know it's kind of like, if I can equate it to a life experience, back in the old days, 60s, 70s, they used to have the barber shop and then the beauty shop. you know,
Okay.
and in the barbershop, men would be able to go and sit down and have conversations with grown men, you know,
Okay.
where you can, have real live topics and conversation and walk out of there with what they used to say was some fat on your head and a good
Oh,
haircut. you
okay.
know, and the same thing took place in the beauty shop. Women would go, get dutied up, get their hair done, get their nails done, and then they would talk about, women issues,
Okay.
things that, that would encourage, women to either stay in their marriage, get out of their marriage or whatever. And then would help them make life decisions, and they had a group of people in the barbershop that, or I'm talking about the beauty shop, that
Mm-hmm.
would help them with life experience.
Okay.
So when you tune into that show, there's such a wide variety, over 100 years of life experience that you can
Wow.
draw from, and that's what we bring to um, the network when we come together. We're all excited, we're all, ready to embrace whatever topic that may come up, and we never know. It's not scripted, you know.
Okay.
We just come together, and what comes up comes out, you know, and we do what we do, with the expectation of trying to impart our wisdom into the community that follows us. And believe it or not, we do have a following.
Wow. So what about the Black History moments?
Now, my Black History Moments was something I started at the beginning of this year on the Ask Dr. Ron show.
Okay.
And I do it every Sunday, to try and, because Black history is 365 days out of the year. There was always
Okay.
something positive that, we in history have accomplished. And traditionally, we hear a lot about the negativity that goes on in the Black community all the time. That'll be on the forefront of the news all
Mm-hmm.
the time. So to try and counteract that, I try and put out there heroes and sheroes from our past and our community that people need to know about. So I try to celebrate us as a race, by using the Black History Moment to bring forth people you may or may not have ever heard of. So I touch on that. We started in January of this year,
Okay.
and I've been carrying it through every Sunday, just trying to make sure I bring something positive from our history forward.
Okay. I see something. Is Chris Base interviews?
Yes, Chris Bass is one of the hosts that join us on Street News Now,
Okay.
and he interviewed me probably maybe about a month or so ago.
Okay.
I'm not really a good person to talk about myself, you know.
Well, you're doing
I'm
pretty good.
well, when people want me to talk about myself, I'm the one that usually holding the microphone trying to get
Mm-hmm.
information out of folks. So when they flip the script on me, I'm like, da, 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 da. But he and I are very good friends. We are both broadcasters, and actually, Chris um, assisted me last year in 2020. I decided to do a bio on
Okay.
myself. So I allowed him to be my interviewer, and we did it on video because people say, "Oh, you ought to write a book. You ought to write a book. You have so many good stories."
Mm.
And I'm like, I'm not a writer. I don't consider myself a writer. So to sit down and try and put stuff with paper and pencil is not my forte. But video, you give me a mic and a camera, I'm gonna act a fool every time. So what I did was I gave myself an outline, and I allowed Chris to come in and interview me on my bio.
Okay.
So by him doing that, he had a lot of personal information about me. So he kind of cheated, when he interviewed me
Oh.
on his show, is like, man, why you bringing that up? Because I knew he knew, because we had talked about it on my bio. But one of the reasons why I did that bio, and I kind of alluded to it a little while ago, my son had his first child in 2020.
Okay.
And I was thinking to myself, like I said, 100 years from now, somebody gonna want to know who I am, since I know my seed gonna still be here. He making babies now. I said, I need to leave some information for them to be able to go back and see who I am, you know. And that was my way of beginning to start that process. And I did it last year, during the pandemic, and I was like, okay, that was a project. And I still have a few more chapters to do. I've got certain people that I need to interview that were a part of my life
Okay.
and are still friends to this day with me. And I just want to interview them to make, what they say, fill in stories, to collaborate, the far-fetchedness of my,
Okay.
so I kind of put that together like that.
All right. So is there something about Dr. Ron that people don't know and they misconceive about you?
Well, one thing I can say, what you see on camera is who I am in real life. I ain't pretending.
Okay.
This is not a character that I'm pretending to be. Okay. I show up just like this everywhere I go. Okay. So some people, and I've had this all through my life, they will meet me and just don't like me. They're like, oh, I don't like him. I'm like, okay, not my problem. That's your
Not my.
problem. Because I always say to know me is to love me, you know.
Mhm.
So if you don't get a chance to, get to know me, then you're gonna miss out.
That's true.
So I've always said that I never want to try and hurt people. I always want to try and be a blessing. And I try to live by that. Because
Right.
people that go around, trying to hurt folks, they dealing with hurt, you
Mhm.
know. So I always tell people, I'll bless you before I hurt you, or I just won't mess with you. So if I don't mess with you, that's fine too, you know. But I'm not going to allow you to take me off of who my square is. I don't want to empower somebody to be that powerful enough to take me off my square and who I am. So that's kind of who I am and what I am. And if you get close enough to me, hey, I'll talk to anybody. I told somebody, I'm finna tell on myself. I went to a
It's
dating
okay.
site. I went to a dating site,
Oh yes.
and on a dare, by the way, let me just say that.
Mm.
And when I went there, a young lady reached out to me. She wasn't young, she was an old lady. So when she
Mm.
reached out to me, she started telling me this story about how people will meet people on this dating site and go out on 3 days. Like you'll meet one person for breakfast, one person for lunch, and one person for the other person for dinner.
Mhm.
So now they just fed themselves that day without having to pay for nothing. And they're not interested in that person. So they just there for the meal.
Right.
Okay. So I said, oh, okay. So the person that told me that later that day we had a meal. And then
Mm.
she decided that she didn't want to, be in a relationship with me. She just wanted
She
to
just
be
wanted to
my
get a free
friend.
meal.
Right. She didn't want to be. I said, oh, you was talking about yourself when you was explaining that to me. So I said, okay, I get it. So in my mind, I said, I feed the homeless all the time, so it ain't no problem. You could have just told me up front you was hungry and I would have fed you. It wouldn't have been no problem at all. I would have did that, you
Oh
know.
my gosh.
So,
That's not good. That's not good at all.
So I'm like, okay, I see it's a lot of hungry people on this dating site. I guess that's all I can come up with a conclusion. So
What did you meet other people that they wanted the same thing or no?
I
Or
stopped
that was
looking.
the first and last.
Yeah, I stopped looking. I said,
Mm-mm.
I'm not, I don't think I'm dating site material.
Why do you say that?
Well, first of all, I'm not going to jump through hoops with gasoline draws on to get with anybody. I'm just not going to do it. I'm too old for that, you know.
Mm.
And I think I would prefer to do it the old-fashioned way, meet a person,
And
you
see what
know.
they are.
Yeah, that way, I'm not going by a artificial social media platform image that you trying to put out to make me think, oh, okay,
Mm.
maybe I'll show some interest.
Right.
Yeah, no. There are plenty of places to run into people, grocery stores,
Mm-hmm.
well, grocery store, because I don't go no place else right now because of the pandemic. But grocery
Long
store,
way
if
of
you
it,
catch me in the grocery store and you make a compliment about my mask and gloves, then we can strike up a conversation and see what happens
or
next.
what you're buying.
Yeah,
And if you have seafood in your
I'm gonna
basket.
have plenty of that. That or vegetarian, because I eat vegetarian food as well. So I eat a lot of vegetarian food. Yeah.
Well, I remember one time I went to the store. We were up here for a festival or something, and we went to the store to buy some food. So I guess the man was watching us what we were all buying because we were going to bring food back to cook later and then go out. So the guy turns around and says, "I got the oil." And I said, "What do you mean you got the oil?" He says, "Well, you need oil to cook some." So we said, "Well, I think we need a little bit more than that." If you want to come,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
so that was a good
He
one.
was trying to be friendly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Trying to be
And
real friendly.
that's the way it used to be in the old fashioned days before
Mm-hmm.
internet took over. You know.
Want to come to your house and bring the oil and bring some food. Well, I can bring other stuff too, but I said you need oil. I didn't see you guys have oil in your car.
Yeah. It's kind of a I think a downgrade, when dating relates to swipe left, swipe right, whether you want to be with somebody or not. you know, I'm like, what
Yes
the
or
hell?
no? Click.
Yeah, what the hell? You know, I was like, well, how many people did you go through before you got to me and say, oh, he looked like the right one? I'm like,
And what you did to get to you.
yeah, I'm like, what the hell?
Well, what kind of person are you looking for,
Who,
Ron?
me?
Yeah.
I have no idea. My cup is empty. I have no preconceived anything because that's what leads to disappointment.
Mm.
When you got a cup full of it, got to be this, got to be that, and then they aren't this and they aren't that. Now you just caused yourself to have disappointment.
Yeah, but when you see the person, what are you looking at them first? Like if when you saw them on the site, are you looking? You must have looking at something.
Well, I would hope that because looks are deceiving. You can look at a person and they might have big
Wolf in
booty and
sheep
and
clothing.
and nice tits, that they could
Mm.
have bought from any doctor's office and had them inserted. you know they could have they could have been reconstructed like Frankenstein, you know and
Or no lips or no bum or no this or no
yeah,
that.
to their image of beauty or what they think is beauty, or bombshell or whatever they try to turn themselves into. And then, you trying to have a conversation with a person. I had a girl I was dating one time, I don't know, can I cuss on this show?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. She was a friend of mine. Then we started up a little intimate relationship, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And I was like, I was kind of busy working on, a consulting project that I had at the time. And, she was really bugging me about breaking away to spend some time with her. And I'm like, well, look, if you can't see that I'm busy working, trying to fulfill my contract, then maybe me and you need to, part our ways,
Mm-hmm.
So she got a little attitude with me, and I said, "Well, take your toothbrush when you leave,"
Mm.
And I just, I was like, "Well, what do you bring to this, this situation anyway?" She said, "I got a big ass and good pussy."
Unless if you didn't think that. So
I was like, "Have a nice life,"
have a nice life.
you know, because that's not enough to make me want to continue at this particular
Mm-mm.
time, being involved with you on no kind of level. If that's all you bring to the table,
Jeez.
then okay, thank you. Have a nice life,
Mm.
So I don't know. Like I say, I have empty cup. I don't want to prejudge anything. I want to, whatever happens, if we strike chemistry, things go in whatever direction it goes in, then I'm cool with that. I'm not gonna walk in and say, well, you gotta be blonde hair, blue eyes, and all this, that, and the other, I'm not, I'm not
Well,
gonna
you
do
might
that.
meet. Who knows? Maybe somebody on this show will see you, and you never know. I reach out to you.
ask-dr-ron.com. I got my email and my information all on my website. If I am the one that you're interested in, reach out to me. It's right there in the white print. Okay. I ain't scared. Okay.
And he's internationally, so he knows how to deal with other countries. So
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. But I love this adventure called life, and I treat it like it's an adventure, and I enjoy it like it's an adventure. So I'm not going to, you know, um, limit anything that can possibly happen in this life. Period.
all right. So is there any shout outs that you want to say to anybody?
I want to give a shout out to Triple P. Miss Sarah set this up, and I love her so much. Over the last month, she and I have grown a little closer. She still won't take my phone calls, but we've grown a little closer. And I love the fact that I've had many members of her management, that she manages on my show.
Mm-hmm.
And she is so professional. She's an artist management,
Mm-hmm.
and she is so professional. Like this morning, she texted me, you got a show today, and she didn't say that, but I
Mm.
can hear it in her voice through the text. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yes, ma'am. I understand. I got to be on the air, you know,
Mm-hmm.
when you say be on the air. And I love her. I love her,
Yes.
So, and she is so professional. And I met her through one of my close friends, White Boy James. I never call him by his street name, but
Okay.
I did just then. But he and I go back. We're really close, and
Wow.
he is managed by Triple P Management. So I would encourage
Well, I
anyone.
interviewed him. I had a blast. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is fun, and Sarah. She is a person to know in this industry. She's out of New York.
Mm-hmm.
Triple P Management. Reach out to her if you have somebody that's interested and wanting to be under her management team. She ain't gonna call you, but she will respond via text, email, or other electronic devices. But and every now and then she'll answer the phone. you know,
Well,
to let you know she is a live person, not a robot. Okay.
okay.
But she is so sweet. I love her. I love her dearly.
Well, I love you for coming on today, Dr. Ron. Ask Dr. Ron. You guys go watch his show, your program. I really thank you for coming on today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. If you go over to my website and you scroll all the way up to the top, you'll see all of my social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube channel. You can always go there and review all of my old shows. I cannot thank you enough, DBoss, for having me and allowing me to come over here and rant and rave about what I do. Thank you.
Well, you did a good rant and raving, because you better be, for the name and the show you have, Ask Dr. Ron. So you better have that. So
Yes,
anyways,
ma'am. Thank you.
I do thank everybody and all the viewers for tuning in tonight. And, see Dr. Ron. If you missed the episode, you can go watch it on my YouTube channel at DBoss Networks. DBoss Networks, you can go on the YouTube channel, and that's, you can go on on my actual website too. You could see it, but it'll just bring you right to the YouTube channel. So anyways, thank you.
Thank you.
And everybody, bye for night and good night.